Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting of November 18th to order. If you'll join me in standing, the mayor is going to lead us in a prayer and the pledge.
Please bow with me. Lord, as we gather together in this Thanksgiving season, may our hearts be filled with thanks for the blessings that surround us. May we remember those in need and honor those who serve our fair city, our staff, our first responders, and our citizens. Bless this community with unity and peace. Guide us to work together with understanding. Give us thanks for today and the blessings of this community. We do all we do in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Kathy, can you please call the roll?
Here.
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 Here. All right, if there's anyone in the audience that has something they'd like to speak about that is not an agenda item, you can fill out one of these forms up front and give it to Clerk Haley, and we'll get to public comment later in the evening. Mayor's report.
Just a few things. Gobble Wobble came off pretty successfully this weekend, so thanks Don and his crew for putting it together. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week, so you're all blessed to have a great family events and enjoy it. The Carousel of Lights, this Friday the 28th they're going to turn them on early this year, so it'll be kind of exciting. Jeremy's been doing a good job putting it together, so he's good. And also the new VA clinic that's out behind Home Depot area, Aldi's area. They're having their grand opening, finally getting it going on December 1st. So it'll be a blessing to have an improved VA clinic for the veterans, and they're doing a good job with it. So it looks very nice. So that's all I have.
All right. Council members, concerns or reports?
I did go to Gobble. It was quite fun, and caught the Veterans Day parade last week. So been lots of things going on. So it's exciting to see.
All right. Mr. Bishop.
No report.
Mr. Hayford.
No report.
All right, no report from me either. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments from council on the consent agenda? Anything from the public on the consent agenda? All right, I'll entertain a
Make
motion.
a motion, we accept the consent agenda as proposed.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Kathy, can you call the roll, please?
Yes.
Here. Yes. I'm still here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, there is one item of old business, item number 9A. This is about the utility service agreement for 2341 West Jackson Street. And Mr. Carranza, are you here to speak? Yes, sir. If you come to the podium, please. And sorry, could you state your name for the record?
Yeah, Fermin Carranza. I was denied a water meter, and there was no written reason. They charged me my fees. The 3 houses to the right of me, and you have all the paperwork. To the right of me were approved for water meters. To the left of me, they were approved for water meters. They're not mine. I'm just after this one. And basically, I'm not asking for a variance. It's just zoned for a mobile home, and here to see if I can get you to change your minds and conform to whatever else.
Any questions or comments? Council?
I drove up in there, and that's what's there. And it's backed up to another mobile. One on Bacon. That's what's back there. There's one block home back there, and it's for sale.
I'll tell you, personally, I don't have an issue with approving. I know our stance has been against new mobile home parks. I don't have an issue with a single lot
But
that's
that's-
platted for a single mobile home.
That's not new. There's
Right.
few
No, I
back
know.
there that's-
I understand. Yeah, this is not a new park. This is one.
Yeah, I wish I
one
had
lot.
a mobile home park, but no.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, I don't either.
I'm the odd man out. I've made my position.
Okay.
No.
Well, it's in the county, and they're already there.
I understand.
You know, that's the only, and some of them have our water. But I understand your position.
Any other questions or comments from council?
Do you have any other parcels there along that street that you may be putting homes on?
That are mine now. I know there are other lots,
Yeah,
but that they're mine,
yeah, there's some in there that's not even set up yet.
I have a house there. A regular house is the only house.
The one that's for sale?
Are there any questions or comments from the public on this? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion, we approve his, service. Water service. Utility service.
What? I'm sorry.
Approve his utility service. All right, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, can you call the roll, please?
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, there is no new,
What's the next step? I get this filled out.
I think you already submitted one.
Submit your utility service agreement.
Yes.
We'll get that signed and get it back to utilities and they'll set the service up for you.
Great, thank you.
all right, there is no new business tonight. There is no business from the audience. No city attorney's business. City administrator.
Council, you have a project report before you. Do you have any questions in reference to it? And one material change that we placed on that item was November 7th. The RP for the golf course was advertised. December 1st, we do have a non-mandatory walkthrough of the golf course for folks who are looking at potentially to.
Just a question on those foreclosure liens. Are we advancing any of those yet or not? The Weeder Law Firm.
So my understanding, and I'll invite Carl up, I think my understanding is they had 10, is that correct? They selected? Yes.
Mayor, council staff, good evening, Chief Hogan for the record. Widener Law has indicated they have filed cases on all 10. They've researched title. There were no significant title issues on any, and cases are all active currently. He's working through the process and anticipated he would have information back preliminarily on the case filings the end of this coming week. I will say Matt and his firm have been extremely responsive. They've been easy to work with to date, and any questions we've had, they've worked through very transparently. So far, it's been a great experience.
Good.
Thank you. Appreciate the update.
The Illinois Pond Weed, what do we know about that? I've had several people ask me what we're doing, what can they do, whatever.
So we're utilizing our lobbyist to inquiries and find out what. I know that, I believe he had a meeting with somebody, but I don't know that we know the end result.
Any other questions or comments?
That's all my question.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to city clerk's business. We have 2 items today. So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can you call the roll, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, moving on to item 14B.
Central Florida Regional Planning Council had got these 2 ordinance numbers back. I believe it was on your June 17th meeting before you. I guess it's not moving forward, and so it was read for first reading and tabled. So because it was read for first reading and advertising, it was tabled. There was no further action to it. So I did not come forward with Attorney Swain before I did this, but I was thinking since it was tabled, I need to remove it off of table status and either deny it or do something with it so I can get rid of these ordinance numbers.
Is that going to cause an issue for them?
Since it was tabled.
Yeah, you wouldn't want them denied, because that would prohibit them from coming back and asking for a change for a year.
Are these the ones where we requested they do a PD
I think
for the
they
commercial
so-
use?
Yeah.
Is it,
Gonna
Yes,
do
this
some more
was-
work on
This was, one of them was the commercial property
right,
on Scenic, and the other was the self-storage, I believe.
the self-storage they pulled, from
Yeah,
my
they
understanding.
They pulled, but
This is probably the zoning change in the
this is
future
probably the
land
zoning and
use.
future
Yeah.
land use.
Right.
for
Right.
For their
property.
commercial use, and we decided that we would like to see a little bit more restrictive.
Right, and I think they asked us to table
Central
that.
Florida
Yeah,
Regional Planning thought
that's
it was
correct. It
like
is the
they were
zoning
doing nothing
future land
further
use
with
for
it. They weren't even,
properties.
it's not even on their radar right now to do anything with it, so they didn't know that the ordinances were still out there. It's just messing me up with my
Mm-hmm.
numbers because I gotta keep reminding myself that these numbers are out there and it's getting further and further along the book where
But if you remember, they requested that we
it
table
was
it.
out.
Yeah.
I don't remember who requested it. to
Yeah,
table
they
it, it
did.
was just tabled.
Yeah, they
So
wanted-
It doesn't say.
I just want to make sure we don't do something that's going to prohibit them from coming back.
It just said that more information was needing to be required in Central Florida Regional. When I talked to them about it, they were doing nothing further with it at this time. And so it said it had to be re-advertised anyway, because it was not tabled to a date specific anyway, so, but
So I think that, the question here is, can we dispose of those ordinance numbers in favor of creating new ordinance numbers when they come back?
Yeah, I don't know why we can't do that. I wouldn't want to vote those ordinances, against the ordinances. I think you could say those ordinances have been abandoned. Council
can they
believes
abandon,
that's
can they
accurate.
vote to abandon the ordinance numbers then?
I think everybody can appreciate the administrative need for not having to track these two missing numbers forever.
We're gonna be in a new calendar year, we're gonna have new sets of ordinance numbers, if you will, so,
Well, not for ordinances,
some
that's only
point-
resolutions.
well, at some point, they'll come back to rezone that property, and they'll ask for new ordinance numbers, whether this happens this coming year, or whether it happens the following year. The question becomes is, now you've got ordinance numbers that fall between, kind of sort them by calendar year, if you will. So we would be, going back and referencing previous numbers.
Well, the thing that's gonna mess it up, if somebody says, oh, I know that was approved in 2026, they're gonna be looking in 2026 or whatever, and then they're not gonna find anything there, and they're gonna, depending on when they wanna try to find that, if they were just looking through the years, it's gonna be more difficult. But,
So how do we legally do it, Bob?
I mean, if you want it to stand as it is, I don't have a problem. I'm eventually at some point gonna retire, so every person can, but.
I would prefer that they withdraw their request, which is sort of what they've done.
Yeah, Marissa thought they had. She thought that was.
I
like,
think
over,
they,
but-
for action that evening, they tabled them, and I was the one that was encouraging them to do that rather than risk having a no vote. How about we can
We can do whatever you want. I just thought they could just go away and then I could move on and keep my numbers, but that was for me.
Can-
So if that's not good for the city, then I'll keep track of it for as long as I'm here and then give it to somebody else to keep track of. But it is in the book that, they haven't done anything with it. So we'll
Right.
just leave this alone and I'll just keep tracking it. I'm good with
Then
that.
we can reach out to them and say, hey, here's where we are. We need to do something with these numbers and see if they'll give us
Well, especially
either
if they
withdraw
thought
them.
that they were saying the project was withdrawn. Marissa said that she thought the whole thing had been withdrawn. So that's why she didn't think it was an issue. So maybe we can find that out if they're not going to come back to do anything, and then we can come back. So
Right.
We'll just pretend this conversation never happened, and I'll just move forward with what I do.
Okay.
That worked for me.
Anything else for discussion on this from them? I guess not. This meeting is adjourned.
Yeah.
And vote.